Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a big warm welcome back to the Under the Light podcast with myself, Robert Blundley. I've been joined today by my good friend, professional boxer, former English and British super bantamweight champion, MTK Golden Contract winner, IBO world champion and WBA world champion, James Jazza Dickens. Jazza, thanks a lot for joining us today. I really appreciate this, mate.
Thank you, Bob. Second time I've been introduced off you twice in this week, innit? First
Yeah,
time was at the Monterex event.
It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to try a little bit of a different thing today because Jazza probably done a bit more media than some of my other guests, probably a bit first. So we're going to try a new format. Let us know in the comments if you think it's any good. But we're going to ask Jazza 12 questions and we've rounded them rounds 1 to 12. So we are open for feedback on this. So if it works, Jazza, you might have saved me podcast.
If it goes well, I'll take the credit. If it goes bad, we'll blame
It's my fault, yeah. So the first question we like to ask Jazza, round 1, we're going to call it the first bell. How did Jazza Dickens first find himself in a boxing gym?
Training with my half-lad in the house. My half-lad asked me for a good few years to go to the gym. I said, I always said no. And then my cousin did go, and he had like one too many fights in school. And at that time, my dad worked in the school. He was the caretaker in the school, just like a part-time job. And he turned up at the fight. I was fighting in the street. I didn't want to fight in front of me half-lad. I knew we'd get into bother if the kid ever says anything that his dad was there. He was the teacher, and he let us fight. But things were like that back then, weren't they?
Yeah. So what age were you then?
I was about 12.
12. So you're looking 23, 24 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would that be? 2003 or 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's one of the fights. And my half said, "Come on, lad." I didn't want him, so then. And then I had another fight with him. And they were doing well. And my half said, "You can fight, lad. Just go to boxing gym. It's pointless doing it on the street type of thing." And I went with my cousin, and his dad, Joey, and his dad, Joey Senior, brought me the solly with them. And went from there, really.
And did you take to it straight away, or did it take a bit of time?
No, right away, Bob. Instantly. I could just fight. I couldn't box, but I could fight. And then I got my medical. I sparred on the second time, went on a Monday, then I sparred on a Wednesday. Then I got my medical within like 2 weeks or a week or 2 weeks or something like that. And then I got my first fight lined up within 3 weeks. And then after that was cancelled. And then I had my first fight within 4 weeks. The same night as my cousin who'd been going for years. So I picked her up very fast.
And was there anyone who first noticed something in you like that this lad's got something? As you said, it took your cousin to get a lot longer than you to get to the same position.
Yeah.
Was there anyone who first noticed it, or was it just everyone?
My dad really. I weren't a fighter, I didn't go boxing, nothing like that. It was football. We love football. Me and all my mates play football from an early age. We play every night on the field. It was just football by ours. That's what we loved. I didn't know I had a talent for boxing. I knew I could fight and hold my own, but I was small. What I realised, Bob, is that everyone you fight in a boxing gym, they're only little fellas, you know.
Yeah.
Which is mad. And it was like it's a lot easier because these are all my size, you know.
So if we talk about round 2 then, a bit of maybe a reality check, because I know you said you went to from fighting in school and stuff, but was there an incident where you first ever got hurt in a boxing gym, or something happened that was like you weren't expecting, or anything like that?
No, it took me a good few years. I got to the European semi-finals, European Games semi-finals before I properly got it with a good shot. Everything went black, and you'd probably say I was out on my feet, but when I watched the video back, I was boxing great, but I was gone. I seen a big white flash and everything went black. It must have been about 30 seconds where I lost consciousness, but I boxed great still. But it must have been years before that happened to me, but maybe I had a good chin. But I used to go home with this feeling in my head, and I used to go home, and I used to think, I love this feeling because it means I'm getting better. When I get this, it means I've had a bit of a hiding, and then when I get a hiding, I'd adapt and learn. And years later, someone explained to me what concussion was.
Yeah.
And I was going home with concussion, thinking this is greatness. So.
And was there a time you first hurt anyone else, or like give a bloody nose out, or did that happen before you went to a boxing gym? I assume.
Probably, Bob. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it went something like. Maybe it was when you first started boxing as a kid. I cut his nose. And maybe that was like what you would say. I knocked him out now, but maybe, Bob. Yeah. I do remember my cousin standing on my toe. One of my cousins. And fell over, and we sparred, and he put his hands in the air. It looked like he had me over, and he still says to this day, I had you over.
Well, if we go into round 3 and just do a quick summary of your amateur days then.
Yeah.
So I know you said they started at the solid age 12. You've alluded to there what I was going to get to, where you sort of said a European Games semi-final. Yeah. So you skipped a few.
Okay. Yeah.
How many amateur bouts did you have?
59 in total. but I only had about 5 or 6 senior fights. My goal was always to turn professional. I went in the Solly for a while, a few months. Martin Talon was a great fighter. I don't know if you remember. Martin Talon was very, very good. He was schoolboy champion. I idolised Martin as a kid. He was the man from Bayard, but he was also fighting for England. So I went to the gym with him. Not long after that, he went to the gym called the Golden Gloves down in South End. I went with Martin, met a coach called Kevin Smith, who became my coach and learned me to box. I could fight, but he learned me to box. And soon after that, I started winning national titles. I won about I would say about, I don't know, it was about 5 or 6 national titles.
When you think how big of an achievement the national title is, and you've got to think.
But I didn't see it as that though, Bob.
No, but looking back,
yeah.
say a kid came to you now, 13, and said, Jazz, I've just won a national title.
Well, it did happen yesterday, and I was like, wow, what an achievement. That's amazing. But I didn't see it like that, Bob. I just seen it as kids boxing. I always wanted to be a pro, so it was kids boxing. I do think the ABA title was good because I was 18 years old when I went in them with Kevin Smith, but yeah, I always seen it as a means to an end, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that moves us on to round 4, like the turning point of what point was it? Because I know you said you always wanted to turn pro, and I know there was a documentary many years ago that you featured on that showed you involved with the GB setup, but not fully in getting maybe the opportunities you should have got. Yeah. And you turned pro, were you 18? 19?
18 when I won the ABAs, turned 19 in that tournament, and then just skipped it then and went pro.
So what was the decision to turn pro? Was it triggered by that's just what you wanted to do? That was always your plan, or was there a turning point that made you think, no, I'm going to go? Because as you said there, the Tri-Nations would have been the natural.
I was sitting there watching the Tri-Nations thinking I'm a pro now, but I hadn't had another pro fight for like half a year. So because I just want to be a pro, Bob. I used to Kevin Smith brought the gym that we were saying at the Golden Gloves, it was getting done up. So he brought us down to a gym, the 051. There's the gym in there, and Franny Ann's gym on the Tuesday and Thursday. I met a man called Franny Ann, and he was a professional boxer, former professional fighter, and I started asking him about it. He was the only person I knew who had any experience as a pro, because back then amateur coaches couldn't train pros, if you remember. So it was a bit different, and Franny used to say, you need an ABA title. Back then you needed an ABA title to turn pro, now you need followers. It was different then.
Yeah. And when that transition first happened, what did you find the biggest differences to be?
The distance, the range, because you got egg guards on, which is another inch on your head, and then the gloves are huge. It's like when we done that thing in the Montex event, I'd done the pads in amateur glove. I've worn amateur glove for over 10 years, Bob. And it's crazy. You can't even close your hand, can you?
Yeah.
They're absolutely shite. Can you swear? Can you swear? So they're bad, so bad, the amateur gloves, but the distance between maybe 3 or 4 inches off the distance. That's what I found the first time I had my first pro fight.
And what about, did you feel any different the first time walking out as a professional, to fight? Because obviously when you first turn over, you're probably boxing the journeyman, the tough, hard men, by the way, who know exactly what they're doing. But you've gone from open class elite international tournaments, basically, to that. Was that an adjustment? Or
fainting, Bob? Throwing a feint, when you throw a feint against an high-level amateur, you feint, he moves, he counters, you move, you counter. But with a genuine, you feint and he just doesn't move, he stands there. And you think, and you're going, are you setting me up for something? Are you that good that you don't have to move? But they're just that shy, Bob, in terms of class, that they don't move because they're just saving their energy, waiting to get an eye, you know what I mean? But I didn't know this. I just thought every man who's getting in the ring wants to die in that ring. Bob. I didn't know, I didn't understand, because I was so young, I didn't understand that people are there just to get paid, you know what I mean?
So that was going to bring us on to round 5. I was going to talk through your early pro career days. So we talked from a year to maybe winning your first title. Them early days, as you've said there, how quickly did you learn? Was it in that first fight, or did it still? Because now you know it inside out.
Yeah.
So them first, what was it? You won your English title about your 12 fights, something like that? Was it more?
I don't know, Bob.
But either way, them early days, I meant the adjustments. How was the first 2 years as a pro, say?
Well, I was learning on the job, Bob. So I was just my coaches at the time, they never had a pro fight. So it was myself, Ryan Fagan, and Kevin Satchel. Great days, like.
Yeah.
Great, bringing back good memories, And we were trained by Paul and Michael Stevenson, the Everton Red Triangle. And we used to just go and learn on the job, all of us, because they were turning pro with Ryan and Kev.
Yeah.
And I joined them. So we were just learning on the job. So they couldn't tell us experience like this. These people are here to win, lose, whatever. They were learning too, you know what I mean? So it took me about, and I was there for like 6 or 7 years.
So when you think the names you've said there, though, learning together, you had Kev and Ryan who both won European titles. You won the World Championship. Paul's like probably the top trainer in the UK at the moment,
He won an
arguably.
award for it, didn't
Yeah.
he? A
So
few
when
years
you
ago.
think if you all started together, you didn't do bad, did you?
No,
Just for learning
between-
on the job when you
between us all,
say it out loud.
there's nothing we haven't won between
Not
us
you haven't
all.
won, and obviously, you know, it just shows, doesn't it? Because we were trying to talk through them early days, but you sort of hijacked towards the end, because that's the ultimate achievement.
Yeah.
You'd say you have done it.
Yeah, well, yeah, so far, I'm happy with so far, Bob, and you could say that, I don't know if Ryan's still boxing, but Kevin's retired, he had a fantastic career.
Yeah.
I would say he's more than content with what he's done.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we were just on the road every week, Bob. Myself and Paul just going to spar with champions, that's how we were learning. And because the journeyman weren't enough to fulfill that learning that you needed, because I come from a great amateur background, you needed to go and spar top lads. And we were staying up at gyms, but we were trying to go to war and sparring, Bob, and that's not the way to do it. I didn't understand that. I just thought seeing every spar as a fight for years, and if I could look back now, I would say, no, go in there and learn off them. Never even asked them, how does it do, what can I learn? All I wanted to do was beat them up and get back home and say, I've just had it with the British champion, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I should have knew better, but I didn't, I was so young.
And well, then the next round I want to go into round 6 was the step up when you stepped up to championship class. You think your first title was the English title, was it, against was it Josh Whale?
John Fernandez.
Yeah. Oh, was it? Oh, yeah. And did you defend?
No,
British Josh
I was
Whale?
supposed to fight Kid Gallagher for the English title.
Yeah.
And Pierce went out and they pulled out because they knew the game. Why
Yeah.
were we fighting Jazza for the English title? We ended up fighting for the world title in the end.
Yeah.
So they knew the game, but we never. I'll fight you now. I'll fight you for free. But fought John Fernandez for the English title.
Sorry, yeah.
And what happened after that?
What was the step up there, though? Like, defined and going from the 4s and the 6s and the 8s to the 10s? Because I know you always trained like no one else.
Yeah.
I remember being young on like nights out and Jazza would run past you. That was like a genuine thing, wasn't it, though? Like running. That was real, though, wasn't it?
That was another thing that we didn't understand. So now, when I went to Georgie Vaughan, he told me, you need to settle down. You need to less footwork. Move your feet, but less feet, more hands. Whereas I was feet all over the gaff. So I just thought, I'll just do what Manny Pacquiao does and use my feet and use my fitness, and I'll go from 4 rounds to build to 6 to 8 to 10 to 12, and I'll just be all out every round. Because we were new to the game, we didn't know you had to settle down, you had to reserve energy and let him burn his energy. You know what I mean? That's what Kid Gallagher had done to me finally when I found the difference in levels.
Yeah.
Kid Gallagher was in the gym with Dominic Ingle. They'd been around the game for years. They'd learned off all their experience off the likes of Bomber Graham, Johnny Nelson, Rhodes, Nassim, and then put it into Kid Gallagher, where we had no experience at all.
You were the first stage of that.
Yeah.
You were the first blocks.
Yeah, we were learning our lessons on me, Kevin, Ryan. So I found it. I got knocked out, didn't I, because of it?
Yeah.
Not because of it. Kid Gallagher knocked me out, and I realised I need to learn. I need to know to slow the feet. I need to do these things that he's just done to me.
And then that rebuild before the next British title fight, which you was successful in.
Yeah.
What was the difference between that fight? Like, because that was one of the things I wanted to ask you. Experiencing your first loss as a pro, Kid Gallagher obviously went on to be a world champion.
Yeah.
I remember that fight. It was you were doing dead well as well, weren't you?
Yeah.
And then it was it the 10th round, maybe something like that, towards the end.
Yeah.
How did you accept the defeat, and how did you learn from it?
What one? The first one?
The first one, yeah.
It was hard, Bob. It was so hard because when you say learn from it, you need people to tell you what happens and how you're learning and stuff like that. But like I say, we were all in the same boat.
Yeah.
We just all been beat, and we had our hopes shattered, but we didn't have the wisdom to know any better. So it took me to go, and a few years later, many years later, I had a good run still, but I was doing all I knew. I was boxing on how I knew how to box.
Yeah.
And that was being successful. But when I finally left the Everton Red Triangle and went to George, that's when I got the experience what George had got off all of his fighters before me.
Yeah. And obviously, them moving around, because you've been around the world, haven't you, with boxing?
Yeah.
Both as a
Yeah.
pro and, spar and training. What lessons did you learn on the road? Because I know we were speaking about it, the one thing, when you were in Ireland, you lived in a van. Yeah. I remember your Instagram posts you used to do in Miami. What were the Chico? What were
Chico, and Bico?
Yeah. Did them experiences, do you think they've made you, not just as a man, but as a fighter? Or because you do everything with a smile on your face, and I never know on your socials what's 100% like. Is it what's taking the piss, or is it all genuine?
I don't even know myself, Bob. But yeah, I learned. So when I first started going away, me coach, Georgie Treble, in the Golden Gloves, used to pick everything up, learn. So I used to sit there, going back, watch the Russian team training, how do they train, watch the Kazakhs train. I used to do that everywhere I go. I still do when I was in Miami there. Like you say, I'll be watching the Cubans train and watching how they do it. So yeah, anywhere I go, we always try. Now I'm in Dubai, training with a lot of Russian fighters. I see how they do it. So yeah, that's how
But
I
we
learn.
will come on to a fight against a Russian fighter towards the end. But the next round, I want to ask you round 7, because this is before we get to the latter part of your career that you've been having recently and the success you've had. Wanted to ask you about the business of boxing, because I know you manage a few fighters now as well. At what point did you, because you said you turned over with a bit of naivety, you didn't even know what a journeyman was, like in the sense of you thought everyone in there was there to not just box next week. When did you first learn it was a business as well as a sport?
Well, when I didn't know what a journeyman was, Bob, when I turned pro, I didn't know what tax was. I didn't, honestly, I didn't pay tax for years, Bob. I had to pay it all off in one big fight.
Right.
That's what I learned when youngsters come to me now. I'll always harp on about the paying the tax and paying the bills and stuff like that. But the question was, how did you?
When did you realise it's not just a sport? Because obviously you've gone in there with 19 years of age, thinking the little lad in the other corner was there to try and take your head off. When did you realise it was a business as much?
I was about 30 years old, Bob.
Really, that was?
God,
Like
when Tony Bellew taught
10
me.
years of pro.
Tony Bellew was a brilliant manager for me because he taught me outside the ring. Georgie and Zeddy spoke about properties and stuff like that and doing things with your money. But up until that point, Bob, I thought you needed 200 grand to buy a house worth 200 grand. I didn't know what a mortgage was. I didn't know it was a loan to pay for a house. Like, they should just tell you in layman's terms, but they don't talk. They don't. All that jargon, you don't know what it is if you're from the working class background like me.
So do you think you've ever been on the wrong end of that then? Like business, like not exploited, I don't want to use that word, but like underpaid, undervalued. Does that happen in boxing?
Yeah, 100%. I've had fights for nothing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the time it happens, Bob.
What do you think they can do to better that? Do you think when people get the licenses, there should be not just, because obviously you have to go for an interview in front of the board rather than just a boxing discussion? Do you think there should be a financial one? Or
can't do nothing about it.
Can't you?
Because the people exploiting you are the same people who are helping. It all works. It's like everyone's a different cog in the machine. They are needed.
And this is
we exploit them too, you know.
Yeah, because I was asking this as a fan.
Yeah.
What about the business side of it do you think fans don't always understand about boxers? Because sometimes, a fight didn't happen we wanted to see, or they're demanding too much money. What do you think the biggest thing is being a boxer that fans don't understand?
Well, I'll give you a real example now for one of my young fighters who were fighting. And it's a shame, it's sad, but you never think it with them being a professional fighter. So now, they haven't got a good amateur background. The promoter's not interested. They haven't got, they're not like world class. So the promoter's not interested. How does you get this kid to a title level? Like you do with the other kids.
Yeah.
He has to take fights on the road, on the show. He has to take ones on the road in the away corner where they get paid. But he's too good for that. So you can put him in the home corner, but he's the one who has to sell the tickets. He has to make up the price for the opponent, which is going to cost like 1,500 quid. He's going to have to pay for the hotel if he's a foreigner. He has to pay for the flight if he's a foreigner. Him and his coach. So he's got to sell about, and he has to pay. They have a slot fee now in the I don't know if you heard about a slot fee. Every promoter who puts a show on, he charges the fighter to
like
go
a
on
house
the show.
Fee.
That'll be grand. So the kid's got to sell £3,000 worth of tickets. That's £130 tickets he's got to sell before he's even made 1 pence. After he sells them tickets, now he has to pay. He splits whatever he makes after that. So if he sells 200 tickets, that means he's going to make £1.5 grand.
I know it's difficult for them grassroots promoters to put because there's a cost involved on the promoter side as well. But I do think that is something fans don't realise. Do they all think professional athlete mega money?
Of course.
And it's just not the way, is it?
Yeah. And these kids are going to sell 80 tickets and they're going to break even. So the promoter's not going to want to use them again because he doesn't put nothing to the pot. The promoter's in a business too, you know what I mean? But these kids need the promoters need the fighters, the managers need both and type of thing. So the kids can't understand sometimes and they think they look around, they look at the promoter, they look at the manager and they go, is everyone earning here? Am I the only one who's not earning? Yeah. I'm giving everything, I'm training every day, I'm selling all the tickets, I'm doing all the work, they feel like, but they're not. why aren't I earning nothing? And then the family members are getting it here. Why aren't you earning nothing? You know what I mean? You're a professional fighter, but do you have to understand this is the game at the bottom? No one wants to pay.
As a manager, though, who's been in that boat, do you think you can guide them a bit better or give them a bit of what am I looking for? Like manage their expectations a little bit?
Yeah. Well, you can, Bob, but I would just say sometimes without insulting.
No, true.
Because you're basically saying, aren't you? You're not a commodity. You don't even want to use you, which is it's worse than saying like you're getting used in it. You don't even want to use you. You know what I mean? So I don't take nothing off my fighters. I try and guide them, try and get them as much as I can, as always. But circumstances like this, it's either nothing and build your record, or don't do it. And that's some fighters' real experiences, and they're too proud all the mates are going out. They've got a 9 to 5, they're getting paid at the end of the week, they want to go for a bevy. Fighters not in, what I mean? It's mad, and now he's got to live up to these expectations. They've all got nice cars, but he's living on the drip, you know what I mean? He's living day to day, so it's hard for the fighters at the start. But
round 8 we were going to move on to, because we'd alluded to it off camera before when you'd said about how important like social media is now, followers and stuff. Not everything, I know you put some great content out, but not everything that goes out gets a good reaction. So I want to talk about the noise that comes with it, criticisms and perception within boxing, because boxing fans on Twitter, it seems to be like, and I know
Twitter's a different animal.
It's a different animal, but like, what's the hardest thing you've ever seen tweeted or wrote about yourself? Has anything ever got under your skin by someone being critical of you?
If someone starts talking about your family, that's a different story altogether, Bob, innit? With boxing teams at the start, I used to look on profiles and trying to find people when I was a kid and stuff like that. Who's this fella? I'm going to get him and all that. It's just madness, innit? Never ever did, but most fighters will go through that. But then you start to realise if you do lose, you fall back, and no one cares. Like I said before, the worst thing about getting used is not getting used in the sport.
Yeah.
And the worst thing about social media is you're getting bad messages. But then when you lose, you don't get no messages, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, Bob. So you got to be grateful that these people are actually, the algorithm, these people are talking like this shit.
Yeah, no, but it's the world we're in now, though, Jazz. It is.
Yeah,
it is important.
Yeah. So if you're going to use these people to support, you can also use them to hate you, and you can do the way they're pumping up the revenue.
Because I know you said we're probably that in between age in our mid to late 30s, aren't we now? But like, you've embraced YouTube in that very early.
Yeah.
You put some of the content you put up, and I know.
Yeah, that's because I could see the way it was going.
And I know a lot of some of it's tongue in cheek, innit? Or is it all? How will we never know?
Yeah.
But have you ever put a video up where you've been at the bollocks, as we call it here?
Yeah.
But people have reacted negatively.
Yeah, on social, I do that on Instagram.
Yeah.
But I don't. I probably don't go on Twitter without doing that. That's the only thing I do on Twitter, because I know whether you do good or bad on Twitter, there's going to be people who just come on there to ruin your day.
I did want to speak about your viral tweet. Your prank you did lately.
Like
could you just talk anyone through? If there's anyone who didn't see it.
What was it? There's
big news coming.
It's
going to shock her.
It's going to stop it. And I was laughing. I was in camp in bed. I was just trying to kill a bit of time. The big news coming. What was it, Bob? I can't remember.
It was something like a big news come. Oh, you won't believe the news that's going to drop.
As if it was bad.
But then, Derek jumped on it, didn't he? He said, "Well, what Jazz has just told me." And it was nothing.
I was laughing to myself in bed. People started, isn't it mad on Twitter? The only thing they all go to was a nonce or a grass.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, someone's a nonce, someone. And I don't even want to say the names, like them into it.
No.
Just horrible stuff. But then I thought, this is funny. This is proper funny. So then I started saying, this is going to take, who was it? Jeffrey Epstein saying in his grave and all that. And then it was like, it's defo a nonce and all that. It's just mad, isn't it?
Genuinely. People who are like casual boxing fans, who are my mates, because they know I speak to you sometimes, rang me, were like, "What? Do you know what Jazz is? What are you on about?"
Yeah.
And like, but it just shows.
What were you expecting? What were you expecting?
Well, as you said, non-saw grass, but I think some people knew you were at the bollocks and retweeted it. Like Derry retweeted it, didn't he? And obviously he garnered other eyes on it, but it was funny, wasn't it? The next thing we wanted to did want to get onto before we got into some of the other stuff was about your identity as a Liverpool fighter. Because I know you've said there, when you think about some of the names you've said there just without even meaning to, like turning pro with Paul Stevo and Mick and yourself, Kevin, Ryan, that was your starting platform. We all went on to achieve things. Do you think, because I know you've boxed all everywhere. Home fighter away, being at
Yeah.
home in Liverpool, you've been away
Yeah.
in Ireland recently,
Yeah.
but that's not new to you, is it?
Yeah,
You've been
yeah.
away all over. Do you think at the minute we had the show in Liverpool on Saturday? Does Liverpool have its own identity as a fighting city? Is that a real thing, or do you think? Yeah,
When I turned professional, Bob, there was BBM back then. It was BlackBerry Messenger.
yeah,
Great, weren't it?
yeah.
Just a
Ping.
great time to be alive. But everyone here in Liverpool has it, didn't they? Everyone in the world has it, didn't they? But at that time, there was a group chat. Me, Derry, Tony Bellew, Paul Eddy, Joe Selkirk, Chris Walker, Speedy, his
Morgan and
partner.
Speedy
They both
getting in
had the
there.
Fighters magazines, didn't they?
Yeah, oh yeah, Mersey
Who else?
gloves.
Mersey Gloves, yeah. It was
Yeah.
called a Mersey Gloves chapter. There were so many good fighters in this. I'm leaving loads of them out there.
Dodo, was he in it?
I'm not sure.
No, because he.
But this was just, and then there was just, Frankie Gam was in it at one point. But this was just, what I'm trying to say is, these are just the lads.
Yeah,
They're all
yeah.
just successful fighters, so they took me to the gym and that, so I was lucky to be around them. I had my first taste in professional gyms. Tony Bellew took me, Derry took me to Oliver's, Bellew took me to Arnie's, where he was at the time. So yeah, we it's something in the water. Don't know. I think it comes from the background of poverty, but
Yeah.
basically.
Is that pressure or fuel though? Because obviously there's all them names you've
I
mentioned
don't
before.
know.
Yeah, they're your mates. I know you said they're the lads, but you see, they all won titles.
Yeah.
I know you have
Yeah.
now, but before you had, was that a pressure or was it an inspiration as well?
Everyone's different, aren't they, mentally? And when I'm in Dubai now, you see the kids in the gym, they haven't got that type of inner city mentality.
Yeah.
So I would say it's the type of city that we live in, for one. And then it doesn't put pressure on me, because if they win, I'm happy for them. And I try not to them. That's how I see it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it's a great yardstick for me to go against.
Because I know you've said this multiple times. You're not the biggest watcher of boxers, are you? You don't watch
not at all.
a lot of boxing, but do any of the Scouts lads have the? Is there anyone? I know you said your first dad was a schoolboy champion.
Yeah,
Martin Talon. But is there? I know them names are your mates, but do you ever look at what they done and thought, like, I can do that as well, or did you just think that anyway?
Yeah. Well, I always thought I was I can do anything in life. Bob, my uncle just taught me like that, which I teach my kids that way. I realised a long time ago, the people who I look up to in boxing, and normally people who I know personally, and I see what they've done in life, like Derry, Franny Hands, and say there, Martin win the schoolboy title. There's loads of people around me like that. Tony Bellew, he's like that, and he's great for the city. And there's loads of people doing it. Molly.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave anyone out there.
No, but obviously the list, we'd be here all day just naming people, wouldn't you? Obviously, because I know you also have mates who aren't Scousers as well, don't you? As well, who are top boxers. But the next thing I wanted to ask about, because this is something as someone who's never had a fight in my life, right? That maybe we don't understand as fans or people like who are close to boxing, not boxers, or people who just watch it or have a casual interest.
Yeah.
Like, to ask honestly, is there any like fear of when you're getting in a ring to fight someone? Is the fear nerves, or do you think that's an individual thing?
I've thought about this, Bob. I can only talk for myself.
Yeah.
It's become very distorted, Bob, because the fear that you have going into a fight, it's like, I've never taken drugs either, Bob, so I can't even compare it, but I can imagine.
Neither have I, by the way. Just for anyone watching.
I've heard you're the worst out of anyone on
Come on.
But I can't compare it, Bob, because I've got nothing to compare it to, but for me, it's my drug.
Yeah.
So, is it nerves? Is it excitement? I don't know what it is, Bob, because I don't know. It's just the greatest drug of all sometimes.
You have to find a way to control it.
No, I just love it, Bob. I just go with it. Imagine, like, how could you say, like, I'm just getting off my cake on this field. If that makes sense. I love it. I love everything about it. But what can happen for me is when you come out of it and you go back to normality, it's hard.
Yeah.
I was on holiday last week and I'm just thinking, how can I get these? Sitting by the pool is not going to cut it, you know?
Yeah. So that is something you say there, is like, but as you said there, outside the box and outside the camp, it's hard. But in it, when you're doing your ring walk, when you're doing your hard training, is it also necessary to drive it? Is it that? Is that the extra mile you get that might have won you a fight if your opponent didn't have it?
I did have it one time where I just lost all that feeling.
Yeah, and, that was my next question.
It was my last fight at the Everton Red Triangle, and I was just burned out. I think at that place for that time, I don't know, Bob was trying to stay loyal at that time. It was the second fight I lost back to back, and I was just dead inside. And I walk into the ring, and I remember watching some fella fight with another fella in the stands, where they were all there to watch me, and I was just like watching this fella fighting, and I had no nerves.
Yeah.
And I was shite. I was absolutely shite. Took me a bit of a scare. I thought I was going to win a fight easy. I ended up losing the fight, but it took me to get back into the fight. I was going to lose. Losing was the only fear there for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You do need it. And then the other times when you're having, you think, am I going to get caught up in a tough fight here? Will I win this fight? Sometimes you go into fights like that, and that's what brings out here.
Do you think as well, this might be a bit of a disrespectful question if it is to cut me short, but do you think that fear is why we see some boxers carry on too long? The fear out, like, as you said, being on holiday, didn't cut it. I know you're still a young, fresh man, 100%, but I mean, other people, because we've all seen boxers lose fights they wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Do you think that comes from that fear of seeing it as a drug the way you have?
But drugs aren't going to cut it, Bob. Money's not going to make it better. Loved ones aren't going to make it better. It's a feeling that you get inside yourself of being a Superman. It's the closest thing you can get to being a Superman. Now, you're still young enough to get in the ring. You're still young enough to fight. You can still have a go. Some people, it's like, now I might win, I might lose. But either way, I'll still do an 8-week camp. I'll still feel like Superman.
Yeah.
And I'll still be at the top of my game. All the attention's on the fighter. And now you're telling the fighter, give that up.
Yeah.
All right, then replace it with what?
No, exactly.
You know what I mean? Tell an addict to give his drugs up, and he'll say, replace it with what? Now, try and be Superman, tell him to give that up.
Yeah. You know? It's fantastic insight to get it from someone who's actually actively doing it. And
I'm worried I'll be that fighter, Bob, 100%, you know what I mean? Because I've found nothing else. Hopefully I'm not. Hopefully God gives me something else. And it sounds bad because I've got kids and stuff like that, and I want to be that guy. No one wants to be that guy, Bob, but no one wants to be normal, do you?
No, especially when you're being something else.
Yeah.
So that does bring me on sort of quite nicely though to round 11, called this the championship round, because you've got a few accolades to your name in your pro. I know we went over some of your 5 or 6 amateur titles that you're not quite sure of, but in the pro game, English super bantamweight champion.
Yep.
Could you talk us through how that opportunity come about and how that feeling to get your first pro title was?
Ricky and Steve Wood's guys, my first 3 years of my career. First year I had, I was going on the Ricky Hatton shows on Sky. At that time, they were allocated to all the promoters, weren't they? If you remember, there was Maloney, Warren, Hatton, a few others. And so I was getting on the Sky deals, 4 fights a year. And I was getting 2 or 3 on the Steve Wood show because he was managing me, Ricky was promoting me. So I think within the 3 years leading up to my first fight, I had about 16 or 17 fights. It might have been my 18th fight, so I was fighting 6 times a year.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant. 1 year I had 5, 1 year I had 7, or something like that.
Yeah.
Just like Terry when he turned pro. And so we had great momentum going into it. It was just natural progression. I wanted it there and then. I didn't want to wait 3 years. You know?
Yeah.
So, he's done a great job of guiding me towards that title.
Because you would get kids now dying for that activity as well, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
There's kids who can't get that level of activity. Yeah. So you got your English title. I know we alluded to it earlier. Your first loss was British title challenge. Yeah. You did get that British title, though, which is a belt we all love, I think. Yeah. I know we have the big Scouse, not English thing in this city, but some of our best nights for fans have been British title fights, haven't they? Like when Dodson boxed Quigley, what the first show in the Echo Arena, what a fight that was. What was it like to get your hands on that British title fight? And was it even sweeter that you challenged for it and not won it, or did that not come into your mind?
No, that was just like I had to put something right then. It wasn't like I was happy to get it. I was happy that I just put that wrong right, if that makes sense. I had my little girl 3 weeks before that fight. And I remember the morning after it, I never sleep at night of a fight, but I never used to. And I had my little daughter, and Franny knocked at the house. Franny had been in my career, the guys me since I was like 15 years old. And Franny knocked on the house, and Franny gave me, and I had my British title and my daughter. It's just I remember nice that moment after Franny was with my daughter. British title, beautiful. And
another championship you won of sorts was the MTK Golden Contract.
Yeah.
That was a great format, brilliant. That wasn't it?
Yeah, brilliant.
The first bout against that. I remember the face-off where you picked and you hugged them. What was that tournament like? And I know there was a few was it IBF European, possibly WBO European, them sort of belts were on the line, weren't
going into it? There was a WBO European, IBF European, what's the European one called? EBU, EU. title was on the line. Carlos Ramos had that. There was a Latin American title in there. A Commonwealth, which was Lee Wood, and a WBO. I've said that, didn't I?
Yeah.
There was about 5 titles going into the tournament. Most people had the title.
Don't look back the names in it. The one you boxed to, the probably.
And the British champion Ryan Walsh.
Ryan Walsh. Yeah. So yourself, Lee Wood and Ryan Walsh.
Yeah.
Like, they're fantastic fights, aren't they? So you had your first one against Ramos, then the semi-final at York Hall was against Lee Wood, wasn't it?
First one was against Carlos Ramos.
Yeah, first one at Carlos Ramos, the quarters.
The semis was Lee Wood.
I remember that at York Hall. It was just before COVID, wasn't it? Because I remember that I came to that,
the last one,
and it was a boss atmosphere. It was the first time I've been to York Hall to watch Derry before, but only ever on the upper.
Yeah.
And I was that was my first experience of the lower, and yeah, I like the upper.
Yeah.
But I think Ian Ritchie gave me a wristband to sit ringside, so that was a bit better. But and when you see what Lee's gone on to win though as well, like when you think you boxed him in a 10-rounder, in York Hall.
Well, we had the weigh-in. What was the weigh-in? The media day before the weigh-in.
Yeah.
I wanted 12 rounds. He wanted 10.
Yeah.
I remember saying, and he wanted his title not to be on. Both. Whose title's on the line for that fight?
Were you WBO European champion?
I was IBF champion.
IBF European champion, sorry.
He was WBO European, and he was also Commonwealth, but he didn't want to put the Commonwealth title on the line.
So only the 10-round titles could go on the line. Yeah.
But I didn't know that at the time. I was saying, I don't care what it is, as long as it's 12 rounds. As long as I've got 12 rounds, that's all I'm asking for. And they were saying, no, we don't want to put our title on the line. And they got their way. Well,
COVID did it, as we alluded to then, and the final was made. You were in with Walsh. The first one got pulled, didn't it? If you could talk, because it was I don't know if everyone must remember when the bout behind closed doors during the pandemic, you went into like a bubble. You had to do a COVID test and get a bubble. You went into fight Walsh first time round, didn't you? And what happened?
We done the media day. They had the like a gloves it off type of thing. Lee and Ryan. Then we went into the bubble and then went to our room. Was made the weights in my bedroom that night, and then next morning. The morning of the weigh-in, gets a thing saying a text saying you failed the COVID test. I'd been on the hotel bar and shook everyone's hands, and I said, I thought it was wind up. Derry said, Derry, don't mind me.
Yeah, because you wouldn't trust him, would you? Of all the people to break the news to you, Derry Matthews is the worst one.
Not today. It's too serious, you know what I mean? Jazz, I'm serious. I knew he weren't messing around.
Yeah.
And I just did the walk up and slid down the wall. I remember just thinking, wow, everything's over here. Because it was the highest payday I'd had at that point.
Yeah.
And it was a great opportunity. Didn't know that MTK was going to bring it back around again for me, which I was very grateful for.
It wasn't that long after. It was still during the pandemic, wasn't it? So I was lucky enough to get to go to that final, even though it was behind closed doors, because I'd done the way and Lee had sorted me out.
Where was it?
It was in like Rotherham ways, when it was like a production park, like a studios. There was a weigh-in in the hotel the day before.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I MC'd on Sky, and I had to wear the mask. I'll never forget it. And then Phil Seymour, my mate, did the MCing for the event, and you.
And there's loads of scouts cleaning the ring, man.
Well, yeah, it was Chris Kelly's mates. They were his mates who were cleaning, got the contract to clean the ring.
Scouts,
yeah. So you sort of had a crowd there, didn't you? Remember Walker and Bellew were there as well.
Yeah.
But what a performance that was, because going into that. Obviously, people who know you, but on paper, you could say that's a 50-50 fight, couldn't you?
It's supposed to be a war, weren't it?
It's like the tactics were brilliant that night, Jazz.
But I just knew that I'd only seen the one fault in Ryan Walsh was his feet was a bit slow, that was it.
Yeah.
And I seen how good my feet were, and I thought, we can exploit that. That was it.
But great performance, great win. And then we come out at I might be wrong here, but was the next title?
World title fight then?
IBO. Was it?
No, it was a IBF.
Oh, IBF, Kid Galahad. I meant titles that we'd won was what I was going at there. Because I know we'd alluded to the loss to Kid Galahad before, but yet that fight came about to rematch.
It was still coming out
Galahad,
of the end when it was on the match room.
Yeah,
Remember in the garden?
Yeah.
So,
but that performance, obviously, it was.
Got stopped in that one, didn't I?
Yeah.
But we had a great run there, me, George and Derry. That was my last fight with George, that.
Yeah.
And Derry. So
Yeah.
it was good, and it was tough
Well,
at the same time.
when I did this interview with Derry, we did. I just tried to do because Derry's done loads of media as well. Tried to do something a bit different. We spoke about his life as a coach.
Yeah.
He was starting his amateur club, and I asked him the best night he had in the corner, and he said it was the Golden Contract final
It was good night,
with you.
Bob. It was
He said
brilliant.
that was that. So obviously he
Brilliant.
alluded to that next night, but if we keep on to because we called it the championship round. You won the IBO world title of featherweight after that. How did that achievement feel?
That was my last fight with George, the world title fight, and we
Yeah.
knew it was going into the fight. It was a hard time after that. After that, I had to rebuild, went over to, I had a word with Derry. He said, I'm going to go and look for something new. Derry supports me 100%. Derry said, not many coaches say, okay, then where are we going to go? You know what I mean? Other coaches just turn their back on you and say, all right, then where are we going to go? Which I'll never forget. But then went to Peter Taylor, and I think we had maybe one or two warm-up fights, and stayed back into the IBO title in Liverpool. It was a great night in Liverpool, in the Olympia. Coming home, it was like a full circle moment.
I genuinely, for that show, when that show was on, I was gutted. Aki was emceeing. Was it Aki emceeing, I think? Or I was emceeing a show. You know, it was Teddy. I was emceeing a show in Essex, right? For Leeton, and you can see it. It's on the stream. Me and Leah looking at our phone, and we go, Jazza's won, and we hug each other like that. So could you talk us through that night in the Olympia?
That was an amazing night. I trained in Ireland, but I was coming home to fight in the Olympia in Liverpool. But it was just boss Bob. It was a great time, and it was rammed in there. And when the Olympia is full, it's great in there, isn't it? It's just a great moment. Yeah, the first world title. People say it's not a world title, but it's often people who've never won one. Or even had a fight who say that, isn't it? So it was a great achievement for me. I was very happy and proud.
And obviously, unfortunately, you did lose that title. I think the move to super featherweight seemed to rejuvenate you after that, though, didn't it?
Yeah.
Couple of good wins. Probably as the away fighter, really, when you first moved. Certainly the Zelfa Barrett one.
Yeah.
But how did the opportunity to go out to Turkey and fight, an Olympic champion for that WBA title, Albert? How do you say this?
Well, we won the Zelfa Barrett fight. Albert Betagaziev. We trained against I'd gone out to Albert in Dubai to train there. We had one fight. I was like 4 or 5 weeks. I was with Albert, and then we fought Zelfa Barrett. Got a good win there. After that one, got a call. Do you want to fight me? Team, your managerial team put it together. Would you like to fight Albert Betagaziev? He's the fellow. To me, I don't follow boxing, so he was the fellow who just beat Jono. Yeah,
that's what he was to you.
Yeah,
not the Olympic gold medalist.
No, so he's the fellow who just beat Jono. So he was a good fighter because he stopped Jono, and anyone who can stop Jono is a good fighter. So, would you like to fight him? Yeah, it's going to be for the WBA, which will be elevated because Lamont Roach is never going to fight for that title again. So I knew it was a world title. People say, you got elevated, but I knew what this was. You know what I mean? Going into it, you win this, you're world champion. And so we jumped at it.
It looked a fantastic event as well.
Unbelievable, Bob.
But it battered them for 4 rounds and stopped them, didn't you? That's basically what happened. I don't know how else I know that you could probably technically break down a performance, but because we spoke about the fear you lived off. Like, not the fear you lived off, but like the adrenaline, the feeling.
I had nerves going into that one, big nerves.
Because he was an Olympian. He was 12-0 at the time with 8 knockouts, I think is his pro record.
I didn't look at his record until after the fight, Bob.
Oh, right. Didn't so, at what point did you feel like, I've got him here, or did you always have that belief?
No, I was just so close to God at that fight, Bob. It was like, I was going into my 100 fights. I always said I want to win a world title. I want 100 fights. I was going into, in total, my 100 fights, amateur and pro. Honest to God, Bob, it's like, not spoke about it, but I thought I was thinking, am I going to die going into, I had this mad feeling I'm going to die in the ring, Bob. I honestly God, it's horrible, dark to say that, isn't it? But that's what I said, I'm going to die in this ring. I don't know why, Bob. And is it 100 fights? Is that the one? I don't know, Bob. It's so close to God. Talking about Jesus' resurrection and all that, going closer and closer into the Lord and stuff like that. That's what I felt like. But it went, it was the opposite, Bob, and that was me crowning moment of glory, and God put me in a great position at a great fight that night, and probably better than I've ever been before. So, I'll put all that credit down to God. It was
a fantastic performance. I don't want to go on about it again, but when you think about it, they brought you in, hadn't they, as a good name, like a good.
Who defends it into the title, Bob? Especially when they're about to be elevated.
Yeah.
But what they knew is we'll just blast him, get a name in England.
Yeah, it's a name, a former champion.
puts England on note.
Do you think they try to use just like, I know, remember Derry's stepping stone quote after Crawler? Do you think that's what they genuinely saw you as?
That's exactly what they done. No one defends it in the title when he could have just waited. He'd have been world champion if he just waited. He was already the interim champion, you know.
Did that add to the sweetness of it though, or did you not think about it like that?
His coach was laughing at me before we went in, looking at me and walking past me and just looking at me and laughing. As if to say, you don't know what you're about to get into. Yeah. I thought you were gonna fucking see.
I remember thinking, it was like man versus boy in a way though, and I don't want to like.
Some fights are like that, Bob. So you can fight someone, you can fight a journeyman, you end up getting it with a short turns, and like next minute it's like you're fighting underwater. You're trying so hard to win the fight. Yeah. Some fights you expect the opposite, and that happens, you know.
Yeah, because it was just not to undermine him as well. Because like when you think Olympic medal, 12-0, 8 knockouts, that's like on paper you'd think. Yeah. And it's not just on paper; it's in reality because he's got the accolades to have backed up his position. Yeah. You know, last event you boxed out in Ireland, close fight. Unfortunately, the decision didn't go your way. No. What was that event like to be part of, though, or was it?
Obviously, Dublin's like a second home to me. Yeah, I love that place. I still go there now, just because I missed the place. You know what I mean? I love the place. Got loads of friends over there. It was great. And I seen when I was there that Ireland was Irish boxing was being starved and had been for years. Yeah. And it was just nice to bring a big night back to Liverpool. We don't need that. We've got boxing all the time. You know what I mean? We're not starved of it. And I seen for there Dublin that it was so nice for them. It was rammed in there, and everyone who came, I appreciated. By the way, all the scouts and all the Dubs who came to see me fight out there, but just to see the event full, everyone loving it, all the Irish fans, the boxing fans, they love it more than we love it. Yeah. So that brings us nice to round 12, the final round, which is the round we're in right now, I suppose. So real-time life, like what's Jazza's current position? Current position, I'm still ranked with the WBA. Last time I looked, I think it was something like third or something like that. So hopefully get a big fight. There's going to be fight news announced soon, Bob. Won't be too long away. I think it's going to be a show here in Liverpool. I have one fight left in my Queensberry contract, and it's just up to my team, my managerial team. I put a lot of trust in them to do the job for me. So hopefully, I can get a world title. Only last week I got offered, do you want to fight Shushu Carrington for the WBC world title? But it's a featherweight. I'm a super featherweight, you know. Yeah, definitely. So I'm around here, Bob. Get one fight and then a world title, or straight into a world title. And is that what's driving you now, reclaiming a world title? Because I know the feeling. I don't think you've said that'll drive you. Yeah, for all time, but do you feel like there's, because it was a really close fight that you've just lost your world title in, wasn't it? Yeah. I'm not a judge, so I can't score rounds round by round, but I don't really think it's one of them fights you sit there and think anyone's like dominating this in the nicest way. Yeah. So is that the next motivation to regain that world title? Is that the journey we're on? Yeah, of course, Bob. That. If they said to me now, you're going to have a few fights, you're going to make a few quid, I'd just say, swear this. Yeah. Swear this. What the fuck am I doing that for? The price is too high. The family time you miss, never mind the health complications that you can come out of there in the cabbage, can't you, Bob? Yeah. So it's like, my goal was to be 2-time world champion. I don't know who was our last scout 2-time world champion, Bob? You're the man. Oh, well, thinking now, you put me on my toes there, because I'm trying to think of the recent world champions we had. He's not quite a scouser, but Paul Butler came to mind, but he tells me a port. He tells me a port. Yeah, he's not scoused. He wouldn't claim to be a scouser, though, would he? No, he never did. No. And he's not. Fair enough. We won't end on that note, though, but like, he's who came in my mind. He doesn't even want to be. Because we're scousers, we just think everyone wants to be a scouser. Yeah, but he is a 2-weight world champion, but he's amazing. He's a local lad to us in a lot of ways. He represents us, didn't he, on a big scale. Yeah, but no, so that would be a fantastic achievement, and is that the plan? I will be 2-time world champion. Thank you very much for